Welcome back to Legends and Legacies, where we dive deep into the stories of remarkable figures who left their mark on history. Today, we're delving into the life of a man who revolutionized the world of music with his virtuosic talent and innovative style, and one of the most influential guitarists of the 20th century. Today, we're delving into the life of Jimi Hendrix. Born in Seattle, Washington on November 27, 1942, Jimi Hendrix was initially named Johnny Allen Hendrix by his mother, Lucille Jeter. His father, James Al Hendrix, later changed his son's name to James Marshall Hendrix in honor of his late brother, Leon Marshall. Jimi's parents both struggled with alcoholism, and their tumultuous relationship made his childhood difficult and unstable. Jimi was often left in the care of relatives and even spent some time in foster homes. His parents' unstable marriage eventually ended in divorce when Jimi was 9, and he and his brother Leon were primarily raised by their father. This chaotic home life often left Jimi feeling insecure and unloved, a feeling he carried well into adulthood. Despite these challenging circumstances, Jimi found an outlet in music from a young age. He was most particularly drawn to the guitar, a love he likely inherited from his father, who was an accomplished musician in his own right. Before he even had a real guitar, Jimi would strum along to music using a broomstick, practicing for hours on end. At age 15, his father bought him his first acoustic guitar, a simple second-hand instrument, but it was enough to ignite a passion in Jimi. He devoted countless hours to practicing, and with no money for formal lessons, he learned to play by ear, listening to records by blues artists like Muddy Waters and B.B. King. The following year, Al managed to buy Jimi his first electric guitar, and it wasn't long before the young musician began performing with bands at local venues. The depth of Jimi's natural talent was evident even then. He had an uncanny ability to recreate complex guitar parts he heard on records, and he gradually began to develop his unique style, experimenting with feedback and distortion, which would later become a hallmark of his sound. In the midst of hardship and adversity, music became a form of escapism for young Jimi. It was a means of expressing his emotions, and more than that, it was a beacon of hope, lighting up a path that would lead him out of his troubled circumstances and towards his extraordinary destiny. In 1961, to avoid jail time for car theft, Hendrix enlisted in the Army. It was during his time in the service that he met bassist Billy Cox, with whom he would form the King Casuals upon their discharge. After his military service, Hendrix struggled to make ends meet as a backup guitarist on the Chitlin circuit, playing with various acts like Little Richard and the Isley Brothers. He eventually moved to New York, where he competed in amateur contests at the famed Apollo Theater. Jimi's time in New York wasn't easy, with modest earnings and little recognition. However, fortune took a favorable turn when he crossed paths with Linda Keith, the girlfriend of Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones, at the Cheetah Club in 1966. Captivated by Jimi's talent, she became his ardent supporter and believed he deserved a far bigger platform than he was receiving. Despite her efforts to introduce Jimi to producers, none seemed interested, largely because his style was so different from anything popular at the time. Undeterred, Linda introduced Jimi to Chas Chandler, a member of the British rock band, The Animals, who was looking to transition into management and production. Chandler was instantly impressed by Jimi's guitar mastery and stage presence, seeing in him the kind of raw talent that could be molded into something great. With a vision for Jimi's future, Chandler proposed to become his manager, a proposition Jimi accepted, leading him to move to London in late 1966. There, they formed the Jimi Hendrix Experience, a power trio with Hendrix on guitar and vocals, Noel Redding on bass, and Mitch Mitchell on drums. The three musicians balanced each other out perfectly, creating an electrifying blend of rock, psychedelia, and blues that was unlike anything heard before. The band quickly gained a reputation for their energetic performances, and Jimi's flamboyant style made him a captivating figure on stage. In December 1966, their first single, Hey Joe, was released and climbed to number 6 on the UK charts, marking the beginning of Hendrix's ascent to fame. This was followed by other hits such as Purple Haze and The Wind Cries Mary, propelling the Jimi Hendrix experience to the forefront of the London music scene. Jimi Hendrix, the struggling musician from New York, had transformed into a superstar in London, setting the stage for a career that would change the face of rock music. Jimi's performance at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967 marked his breakthrough in America. His explosive rendition of Wild Thing, where he set his guitar on fire, is one of the most iconic moments in rock history. He later made waves with his psychedelic rendition of Star Spangled Banner at Woodstock in 1969. In the latter part of 1969, following the breakup of the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Hendrix found himself in a new musical and personal territory. He returned to his roots, to the soul and R&B that had inspired him during his time on the Chitlin circuit, and fused it with the rock and psychedelic sounds he had become known for. Out of this came the Band of Gypsies, with bassist Billy Cox, a friend from his army days, and drummer Buddy Miles. Hendrix's new trio had a debut on New Year's Eve, 1969, playing 4 historic concerts at the Fillmore East in New York City. These performances were a turning point in Hendrix's musical career. The Band of Gypsies offered a funkier, more soulful sound than the Jimi Hendrix Experience, with songs like Machine Gun and Who Knows reflecting the raw, grittier direction Hendrix was exploring. These concerts were recorded and would later be released as the Band of Gypsies live album, widely recognized as one of the greatest live albums in rock history. It demonstrated not only Hendrix's continual evolution as a musician, but also his willingness to defy expectations and cross musical boundaries. Despite their innovative sound and initial success, the Band of Gypsies was short-lived. Their last performance was at Madison Square Garden in January 1970. The show ended abruptly due to Hendrix walking off stage, reportedly unhappy with the performance. Disputes and disagreements led to Buddy Miles's departure shortly after, effectively disbanding the Band of Gypsies after just a couple of months. In his final year, Hendrix was beset by several professional and personal challenges. His management disputes continued, leading to high levels of stress and strain. Meanwhile, his intensive touring schedule and pressure to produce new material left him physically exhausted and emotionally drained. His use of drugs and alcohol, once a source of creativity and escape, had escalated to dangerous levels, exacerbating his health issues. Hendrix had also grown disillusioned with the music industry. He felt that his commercial success had come at the cost of his artistic freedom, and he was eager to explore new directions in his music. He had dreams of developing a recording studio, Electric Lady Studios, where he and other musicians could have the freedom to experiment without time constraints and pressures. In the early hours of September 18, 1970, Jimi Hendrix's life was tragically cut short. He was found unresponsive in his London apartment by his girlfriend, Monica Danneman, and was later pronounced dead at St. Mary Abbott's Hospital. The cause of death was asphyxia due to barbiturate overdose. He was just 27, becoming a member of the infamous 27 Club, a group of influential musicians who all died at this young age. Jimi Hendrix's death sent shockwaves through the music world. Fans and fellow musicians alike mourned the loss of a brilliant talent who had revolutionized guitar playing and left an indelible mark on the world of music. Despite his untimely death, the legacy he left behind was immense. His music continues to inspire and influence artists across genres and generations. His life, though fraught with difficulties, continues to be a testament to the transformative power of music and the enduring spirit of creativity. After his death, Jimi's music continued to inspire millions. His albums posthumously reached the top of charts, and he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1992. His innovative guitar playing, stylistic fusion of genres, and passionate performances have made him a timeless icon. Despite his short career, Hendrix's impact on music is immeasurable. His inventive use of guitar effects, feedback, and distortion transformed the possibilities of rock music. His influence can be seen in countless musicians who came after him, from Prince to Eddie Van Halen. Jimi Hendrix's life, much like his music, was an electrifying blaze, filled with raw passion, innovation, and heartbreaking tragedy. Despite a challenging upbringing and a career cut too short, Hendrix's spirit lives on in his music and the countless musicians he continues to inspire. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Jimi Hendrix. If you enjoyed this episode of Legends and Legacies, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more detailed biographies of your favorite legends. We look forward to sharing more incredible stories with you.